Okay, now let's talk extracurricular activities. This is one of my favorite areas because I really feel students get shellonged and beaten up by parents saying, oh, you don't have enough quality extracurricular activities. Oh, you need to do some, it's look, when we were growing up, nobody told us what extracurricular activities we should do, right? I was into bicycling and I loved cycling day in, day out, and I did it. And if I had to write an essay or extracurriculars, I would talk about my biking experiences in life and, all the places I biked in my life. Or, like I was big into badminton and I killed it in badminton, but it wasn't because my mother pushed me into it. And the reason I have a whole section on it is because I see us parents now, because they're so stressed about getting them into college admissions. We're like, oh, you don't have enough extracurricular activities, or the one that you're working on is idiotic. It's not unique enough. You need to do that. And we take the mojo away for our kids. And no wonder so many of our kids are lining up with depression and kind of problems. So because we just, do that. I have no idea, Amita, what NMSQT is. Sorry. Did I have that on my slide somewhere? I don't know. I actually have no idea what that is. Okay. Anyway, I'll keep going. Quality activities planning. So know who your competition is. This is where, yeah, the type A Indian dad in me comes out. Like, you need to know what activities others are doing and try to do something a little different from them. Like, for example, I have a friend of mine, well, one of my friends, she's one of my students in my 11th grade. And she called me the other day. She said, Harpal, uncle, I'm going to drop, she's into rowing. And she's, this ace rowing person have been doing it for 2 years or 3 years rowing, but it takes away a lot of her time. She has to wake up at 4 a.m. and, it has impacted her academics a lot, but brilliant child. When I talk to her, I mean, she literally comes across as like emotionally so confident, so smart as a person, but clearly the parents have rooted into her that, you're doing rowing, but it's impacting your academics. You're not going to get into a good school. She comes to me and she says, I'm going to give it up because I can't. I'm like, why? She goes, because I can't focus on the other extracurriculars. My grades are okay, but I need to work on other extracurricular. I'm like, that is so stupid. What do you mean you want to focus on other extracurriculars? This is your extracurricular. You're loving it. And we had a long talk about it. And in the end, she goes, okay, I'm so glad we talked. I'll keep it. And then I asked her, I said, honey, if I had actually told you on this call, I mean, she's a paying student of mine. So I gave her like, good hour to have this conversation with me. And I said, what if I had told you, yeah, you're right, give up rowing? She said, then I would have given it up. I said, you said this today. Don't ever say those words to me again. I'll kick you out of my program, because if you don't have a spine, you're going to let a counselor, a chit of a man sitting on a Zoom across the table, dictate what should your extracurriculars be, what you should find happiness about, right? So I literally belittle myself. And I say, who am I to tell you in life what ECs should you consider? Your EC should be what you enjoy doing. Okay, and that's all what it should be about, and that'll show in your application if you're constantly showing, progression. So sorry, I kind of went off on a rant on that, but it's very important to have good ECs. This is Shreya's extracurricular list. You can see we did 18 different extracurriculars. It's a kitchen sink, as I call it. Okay, so and after going through this process, I figured this is stupid what I did. Okay, I made the kid die, like meant to so many extracurriculars. Okay, but the ones I've called out I've highlighted were really the only ones that were important, because these were the ones she talked about in her essays. These were the ones that were looked upon in very unique ways. So it got the, what we were looking for, the mojo ultimately. But there's a charm and there's a way you do these things. I mean, extracurricular activities, even on the Common App, they limit it to 10 right now. You can only write about 10. So I typically tell my students, write about 7, 8 of them and write the ones which have a spike to them, which kind of shows something unique about you. Okay. So like all this MSJ pause, Olympiad, this idiot, she was an organizer for all 3 years. And, she spent a lot of time there. She did badminton. She loved it, but she didn't want to write about it. So, and she made varsity. So I mean, it's okay. But like DECA, she did in 9th grade. It was okay to try it out. History club, she was there in 10th, 11th, 12th, did nothing really over there. So try to reduce some of the things that your children are being forced by parents or by peer pressure to do. Only do the things that you like. For example, she loved chorale. Okay. She stayed with it, with dance chorale and, singing and stuff. And that really blossomed her as a person. And that's why she got into Wellesley, one of the reasons, right? I mean, those are some of the classically amazing things she had done. Was a nerd in different ways, but she was also having these things. So very well-rounded as a EC, as a personality. Okay. This is my younger one, Dia. She's a crazy one, right? She goes and works at Jamba Juice. She's been playing soccer since she was a fourth grader. Loves playing soccer. Is never going to be a Mia Hamm or any of those, but she's just loves it, very passionate. She's a referee for a team of 3-year-olds. She has her own business line now of cosmetics where she puts makeup on students, and her Insta is full with, she makes money, like literally on a weekly basis, she'll make 40-80 bucks. Okay. And students come to her to get their makeup done, and she makes good money doing that stuff. So looking at Dia, I actually started the entrepreneurial internship. I actually do this internship for fun, and it's not fun. I mean, it's a 6-week really rigorous program of students learning internship. My Shreya does this Python research program where she trains students into learning Python enough of the software language that they go on to take on university level projects in her internship. So she'll actually make projects where like machine learning and all are involved, and very classy stuff. Okay. Amita asked, what is National History Day? National History Day, Amita, is it's a competition which is done every year. It's an annual competition, and it's held you qualify. You go through your county level, state level, and then you can go on to become the country level. So there are 3-4 categories in it, but it's in my humble opinion, it's one of the best ways to show schools like Ivies and stuff, the good schools, how interested you were in history. You have no idea how much history has an impact on these schools. Okay, I personally get a big impact when somebody talks has some, like Shreya and I were talking the other day. We had a long discussion about George Washington having slaves, and that's the kind of conversation. I was like, well, nothing wrong in that. I mean, this was the day that she goes, no, it's not ethical, and yada 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 and stuff. So, but she knew that topic, and she could get into a full-on discussion about why slavery. You can get into her with a discussion about why the North won over the South, and why the South also had a legitimate reason. So this student has a balanced perspective on a lot of things. So, I mean, that's who CEOs are really about, inherently very smart, comprehensive personalities. That's who your CLL execs are. Know who your competition is. This is very critical to know. Okay, so look at your classroom, look at the students around you, and you look at their profile, and you don't want to be totally different from them, because like if you go to a STEM magnet school, then everybody's going to look like this dude. Okay, but look at this example over here I talk about, right? The bear coming after people. Like you want to have something which shows you a little better than the others. And one of the things you'll notice, people don't talk as much about their extracurricular and activities to one another, which is because you are competing with the dude next door who goes to the same school and has similar grades to you. Keep some of your extracurriculars very, under the radar, which to yourself. And that's important, because you want to show something different. You don't want to look stereotypical like everybody else. Oh, I did piano, I did STEM competitions, I did this thing. Do those, but add more on top. Okay. Gospel. This is, I've talked yesterday about the AP, the same thing. Same thing applies to extracurriculars. Quality over quantity. It's not important that you take on 5 sports. You can do 3-4 sports in the first beginning of the year, 5th high school, for 9th grade, you're testing it out, new clubs, new activities, start funneling it down. Okay, it's a strategy. Take internal clubs, external organizations, nonprofits, be part of multiple things. Let your one thing, it'll keep them away from that stupid Instagram and stuff. And secondly, it'll actually get them to see the world. Like, it's very important, like nonprofits, to be going there and working with them, like the Salvation Army. Go yourself. Your child will go with you. Even if they don't come, you go, make friends over there. Your child will very quickly want to join you, because they know it's going to be applicable to schools. And it's a great way to build philanthropy and thinking in your own children. Make it relevant, make it consistent. So keep doing it. Don't just do it in 11th grade. Don't make it look like it's just for colleges. Have a motivation to do something what you do. Here's a ideal EC profile. This is what you would see. It's very well-rounded. You can see, right? This music, this person has done, like, if your child had these 4 things, right? I would kiss him on both cheeks and take him into my school. If they have a decent GPA along with this, You don't have to do things like, like I have this one family I work with. Every call they get with me and they're like, Harpal, just tell me which school he will absolutely get into, which is such a stupid way of thinking about life, right? I mean, you want to build your profile in such a way, who cares if which college accepts him or doesn't? If your child has such a well-rounded personality, people will die to get that person, okay? That child. If you had these on your profile, all these things, like you served as editor-in-chief of a newspaper article, you sent an op-ed contribution. By the way, this is very easy to do. Huh? The local newspapers in response for getting an ad put in their newspaper, they'll take one of your child's essay and you can write half of it. Okay, like I said, it's a very rich man game. Unfortunately I have to coach a lot of students on these things, and I do that. I'll probably go to hell for that, but that's how life is. Okay. So this is just a well-rounded person. Okay. This is the lowest tier. I hate when I see these kind of people, or I see these things in an application. Okay. General membership to school clubs. I had many of those. Okay. Lots of like, I joined this club, joined that club. That's stupidity. Okay. Just mere participation. Okay. Like I was a member of the track team. How does it matter? What did you do? How far did you go? Did you keep climbing some levels? I want to know that. I took karate for 5 years. Okay, how does that matter? Did you go up competitions? Did you become a trainer? Were you one of the teaching assistants in the karate school? Did you stand up for bullying somewhere? Did you give a self-defense training somewhere? Something, right? How did you take what you learned? I mean, if you just did these things, participate in marching band. There's a question here. Love the honesty of thank you, Balu. Okay, learning piano outside of school. Just, I mean, if you hit an O level with piano, it's one thing. If you just had a trainer coming in, piano person coming to your house and doing it for you, it reeks of elitism. Okay, don't even write it. I mean, just get your kid out of that stupid stuff. Okay, general volunteerism. I helped at a food bank. What does that stupidity mean? Right? I mean, I made 100 packets. So you went one day, you put together packets. So now you think you've just suddenly become the queen of, Mother Teresa and stuff, that you've got it. I did a week-long trip in Africa. I built homes. This is such a classic elite bullshit, right? Just because you're part of a church, you got a vacation to do. I have students who come to me and they show me these essays and I want to tear them in front of those guys. I don't do it because they pay me money, but I'm like, okay, you could not have gotten an aha moment of life and you suddenly became caring for the poor and homeless because you did one trip to Africa. Shreya actually came to me once with an essay like this. She said, I was in San Francisco and had gone with my friends to do some shopping, and a homeless person looked like he was about to pass away, and I helped him, and it showed me what poor is about. And I was like, dude, how stupid can you be? This is reeking of being an elite. Schools hate elites. They want elites, but they won't want you talking about it. That's the diabolic, nature of these idiotic, institutions, what we call colleges in America. Okay, they want rich people, but not somebody who's like, oh, going to be flexing. They consider that a flex. I would consider that flex. I went to a senior center. I talked to them. I mean, I have this one student having a whole story about how she helped a Chinese lady at a senior center where she was working as a as an intern there, and what she learned, right? Apparently this Chinese lady was a very old lady, and the student was using Google Translate to talk to her, right? To communicate, because she was working in there, and she learned some amazing things about that old lady's early years of life, and how she had to deal with sexism in China and stuff. So it became a beautiful essay, right? And how that, she connected to like 4 more other things. But even the student didn't know these things, that she went through all this stuff. She just started blurting things out to me. And obviously me being her counselor, I started connecting the dots, and I said, honey, this looks like a good essay. I think we can make this work. So how do you start? Okay, planning for these strategies. Okay, I'm kind of going a little behind on time. Okay, trust your instincts. Okay, you need to know what you like. Don't let your parents or your teacher or your peers or some stupid website say, this is the kind of extracurricular that looks good on your staff. Okay, please don't let that define you. Okay, you define the vision, you put a multi-year plan together, make it happen, but plan upfront. Don't just let things happen to you. Okay, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there, right? So you need to have a map. You need to think it over. And if you don't know it, it's okay to know that you don't know it, because if you know you don't know it, you will figure a way to make it happen. Okay. But that coming to Jesus, coming down to the baseline is very, very critical. Okay. Make a start with your vision, where you want to go. What do you dare to believe in? What are things you stand for? What is it that you don't like? Okay. So you remember that famous line between Alexander Hamilton and Burr, his nemesis, was like, he says, Burr was arguing with him, and he says, at least I stand for something and I will stay for it and I'll die for it. Okay. Burr, you on the other hand, don't stand for anything. You'll just change based on the season. Okay. Which is so true about life. And all of us have created children and stereotypical children who are pretty much on those lines of life now. We just like, okay, whatever gets me to college, which is bullshit. I mean, I went to a school, I forget the name of my graduation school. Okay. The fact that I did computer science from there got me to America in 2 years of leaving, and I killed it over here, right? Am I a good engineer? I'm okay. Okay. Am I good at my EQ? I'm fantastic at EQ. Am I good at selling? I'm fantastic at that. Okay. But I made it. I made it despite my handicaps of, single parent, no money in the house, going to a crappy school, made it. So don't let students today think they'll get into a college and that will be the end all. That is such a stupid way of thinking, because that is not true. Okay, you have enough people who are jobless even after coming out of Harvard and messed up in their heads. Okay, but this is the planning progression for extracurriculars around the 4 years. Again, start with doing as much as you can in the beginning. Try to start with not just your school or organizations, go to private organizations, have EQ, talk to people in these organizations, start building your, it is literally like teaching students how to get promotions. And this is where parents can do a camaraderie with the students saying, hey, you know what, you're doing this particular course or this club, tell me more about what you're doing, and give them ideas how they can go and do some fundraisers, some things which will help some of the, build entrepreneurial perspective, because those things help. Sophomore years, consider starting your own club. It could be a small thing. Start your own. Dia started her own club there recently, and she found a niche. She went to the school and she got her own club started. Drop out if you see clubs which are not doing much work. Either become the person who's going to make it happen, or just leave it. Don't stay with the club saying, oh, I need to be in a club. Okay. Stay with clubs which have momentum. Okay. Junior year, try to get lead roles in those clubs. If you can't get a good lead role, if you are not able to do something entrepreneurial or make a meaningful contribution, leave it. It's okay. But if you are able to get it to here in senior year, many times you can, you scratch my back, I scratch yours kind of thing. You can go into, there are other clubs in the school or outside where they're looking for a secretary, and, you're like, hey, come to this club, my club, I'll get you a position here. You can cut deals. Okay. A lot of this shit happens in schools, but do that. Okay. Figure it out, become a mentor, add new members, as I said, but be nice to everybody, be helpful, be selfless, befriend power. Okay, learn negotiations. These are skills. These are like the EQ skills that you want your children to learn across the board. Okay, thanks, Balu. Okay, okay. These are some of the sample extracurriculars I've called out, and this section will actually go into actual extracurriculars that I call out for students that they should consider doing. Okay, so summer research program. This is kind of what Shreya does, what I do. I do with entrepreneurship. She does with just Python, computer science research. Berkeley has a program on Cosmos. Stanford has great programs. MIT has a great program. They're like 1,000 programs. Okay, I will, if you need some more details, and I give it to all my students, which is we have the full list of what programs are, and just putting the list together takes a long time. But I will talk about these things. Okay, all of these will come now. So this is what Shreya does. It's a shameless plug for her program, how she teaches the program. This is the website, Python Research Program. She teaches them introductory, summer research, and it's very impressive what she's been doing for a couple of years now. And she'll take you into different tracks based on what you want to do as your major, and she'll help you do your projects around that area. I have my own entrepreneurship club, which I talked earlier about. I like this one, like there are many times it's not very hard to get on to giving a TED talk in your school itself. You could have a TEDx chapter, find a topic. It could be just something very basic about bullying, or about, breaking bread with minorities, or, you can come up with a lot of these things. There are courses which teach you how to give a TED talk. Invest in those things. Start giving it, even if you don't get a TED talk, like an actual TED talk, Heck, just do a Zoom talk to, say on your next door, say, I'm going to give a talk on this subject. Okay. Record it. Put it on YouTube after that. Okay. And that is your version of your TED talk. Put it in 17 minutes, do a good job at it, make your family listen on to it, put maybe even the TED logo behind it. Okay. And, and you can say it's not an actual TED talk, but just for how I would see a TED talk. Like I make it a little more funnier. I make it more empathetic, or I take questions, but it'll be in the same format. Shows creativity. That's what they want to see. Did you work your tail off? Did you do something, or did your parent throw you into something, or you just paid your way and got into an extracurricular? Okay, this is what colleges want to see. That is what they mean by character forming stuff. Okay. Interview or TED authors. Oh, these are guys are super vain. Okay. If you notice yesterday, Rick from Harvard was on the line talking to all of you guys. He talks about this one to me. This is his example. Okay. You can call up these TED authors. There's so many TED Talks in the world. Hey, you can say, I want to just interview you. I want to know about your childhood. How did you grow up and stuff? Write a small LinkedIn post on that, what I did in this talk. Okay. That could very well be a basis for a good essay for you. Okay. These are good extracurriculars to figure out. Nobody refuses 15 minutes of time. Okay. To particular to students. These are services which I found. They have databases of opportunities, volunteer match, by zip code. So if you want to look for a volunteer opportunity, you have some time, by zip code, you can get it. Again, all the links are there in the website, in the classroom. So you can just point into this presentation. Okay. Points and light. What is the time right now? I need to make sure. Okay, it's 9:45. I have about 5 more minutes. I have to take my dogs for a walk. Okay. Points of Light is another good database. Virtual. This is a fantastic list, guys. Okay. If there's one thing from this test talk you take away is this slide. Okay. These are like very, very good links to societies which have fantastic volunteer organization stuff set up for students. For example, let's talk about if your student is wants to go into pre-med. Okay. Look at America Cares or Youth Rescue, Red Cross, American Heart Association. They all have volunteer programs that you can join and start up and become a part of them with doing things. I found this very interesting. Crisis text line. Okay? You could just become a person to be one of the people to be available to to give a, what is this? Okay, but it's a way to you can be a volunteer and you could help these people be in. People need crisis, like particularly now in COVID times, this kind of stuff is very critical. Okay. If you could be one of those people who could help the students out, help people with this thing, it builds character for you guys. I also like this one, Code for Social Good. You can actually find projects over here. If your child knows Python or some basic, HTML also, it doesn't matter. Okay. You could actually, you can build a website. You can find projects like, look at this one. Okay. I could find a project like if you can help your child with project management, business analyst work, or just web development, just sign up for some of them, make it a project between you and your child. Okay. Like this company wants, we're open, say blah, 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 something website for special needs. Okay. If you start building this work and actually apply for this thing, hey, I have time to do this. This builds character. It shows such good stuff on your part. You'll end up building a great relationship with the children as well in the process. So look at this list. Okay. So look at this, then email professors of colleges. Okay, this is a very important thing. And these are just my own list from talking to different colleges. Like Shreya talked to these professors. Okay, and the professors damn well give good answers back. You can just look at this professor. She's like, hey, I realized I didn't get back to you, but I can chat to you now. Very nice people like the Reed College. Okay, mostly liberal arts schools will respond very quickly. Colleges, if you don't write, like if you just write like this is not good enough. And now that I think of it, like Shreya was actually thinking of doing a chemistry major at that time. She ended up changing a major 4 times and now she's doing computer science. That's a different story. But if she had written something like, I looked through your projects on chemistry, what you're doing, your research, this particular research you're doing really connects with me because I'm doing something. I read a book or I did something and this is a major I want to go into. Would you have 5 minutes to get on a call with me, right? Nobody really refuses students. I mean, as long as it doesn't look cheesy that you're doing it for an application. Don't do it like, 10 days before you're applying to a school, because that looks really, really cheesy. Religion, work, go in your church, attend to things, try to do some of these tutoring sessions in your church. Don't just do stuff like, online missionary work. Try to actually get involved with your, temple or your church or any institution. I like this one a lot. Visant tutoring, right? Enroll with Visant as a tutor. You can be a teacher or outschool. You could, if you have some basic skills available to you, that even math skills that you want to train sixth graders and all, do it on these websites, because for one, they will there's an online record of your work, and you can write about that in your essays and stuff, saying, hey, there's an online record, okay, of the money I've made or the people I've tutored. So people can't challenge you as much. Okay. Become complete an online course with like edX or something, and then volunteer as a training assistant, a teaching assistant in those courses. Okay, this is a great way to build some time. Like just say I will tell the professor, like if the professor is from, say for example, Harvard. Okay, introduction to CS, and you take the class, you ask a few questions, the professor gets to know you a little bit. Send him a note later saying, can I be a teaching assistant? Okay, I will proctor your the questions that come over here. I will answer those questions. Everybody like free labor. Okay, but the process of doing that, now that professor becomes your friend, and he might write you a recommendation letter. He might be the reason you get into Harvard. Okay, I'm rushing through things because my dogs need to go for a walk. Okay, involved with the city local government. I've put it for Fremont, which is where I live. Communication. Start just writing. Just start. The important thing of writing a blog is there is a date on it. Okay, a date which cannot be changed, particularly if you write on like Medium and some of these places. So, and if people actually respond to your blog and you tell people, say, can you put a comment over here? That shows connection with the community, and write those things, make those a part of your profile. Okay, and saying my article on Medium was read 5,000 times, and people can go and see it. Okay, so it's very important stuff. Literature, foreign languages, take a class. Just start doing a foreign language. Use Duolingo app. If you want to learn something new, just over a weekend or sometime, or in a summer, you could start learning some Swahili. Okay, and using Duolingo, you could start doing it. You can find a live instructor online who will communicate with you, right? So it's a very character building things. So anyway, I've done enough of this part. So I will stop.